Thank you all for coming today. It's a little bit of a chilly day, but it's a nice day for Syracuse in late October. And on behalf of Conifer, I want to thank everyone for turning out. My name is Andy Bodewis. I'm a Senior Vice President with Conifer. And I've had the wonderful pleasure of spending the last 3.5 years on working on the redevelopment of this building that sits behind us, the Kasson building, as well as the building across the street, and 2 more buildings, one on East Genesee Street and one on South Salina Street. And I want to, before we get started, just give a very brief background so everybody has a context. Conifer bought these buildings from the city in 2010, August 2010, for $1 each. And the deal was that the city, having these buildings sit here for about 5 years empty, the mayor really pushed hard to see these buildings get redeveloped, and we began working with the city in about 2009, and came up with a redevelopment plan for all 4 buildings, closed on the buildings in 2010, and our strategy was to combine these 2 buildings, the Kasson that's behind us and the one across the street, into one apartment development, and then the other 2 buildings, the one on East Genesee Street and the one on South Salina Street, as another apartment development. These 2 buildings are truly a mixed income development. They have 83 apartments, and there are some apartments that serve families at 50% of the area median income, and there's market rate apartments. The majority of the apartments are market rate. It's better known as an 80-20 deal, which is a type of deal that's very rarely done upstate. That was something that the mayor really wanted us to do, and to her credit, it looks, and I think is going to be a tremendous, looks like and will be a tremendous success, and I think will really help revitalize this neighborhood. This type of thing doesn't happen without partnerships, though, and I have behind me some of our great partners here to get this done. The biggest partner we had here was the city, and so I, at this point, want to introduce the mayor and let her talk about what we've done here. Mayor Stephanie Miner.
Thank you very much. It is a real pleasure to be here this morning. Back in 2010, when I came into office, we recognized the important place that these 2 apartment buildings have for James Street and the north side, but also the importance of what we came to call, what became to be known as the Eljay properties, some of which had been vacant for years and years, and we had to use all of the mighty skills and tools that we had as a city to take control of those properties from the federal government, and then to make sure that we had the right developers who could actualize the vision that we had as a city. And so just about 4 years later, I am standing here and thinking about all of the hoops that we had to go through, all of the red tape that we had to cut, all of the creativity that we had to use. And I say we in the true sense of the royal we. It was every department in the city, from the mayor's office to the legal department to community development, to our partners at Conifer, to our partners who loaned us money, M&T Bank, to all of our housing partners. We recognized that this would be an important asset, and without all of the partnerships, including the state, which gave us money as well, we would not have been able to recognize that. I want to take a brief moment to recognize the extraordinary work that Commissioner Paul Driscoll and his staff did to enable us to get here today. He's standing in the back, and without his work and the staff that works for him, we would not truly be here today. So thank you, Paul, very much. These buildings are great assets to our city. They have great historical significance. The one that we're standing in front of actually had housed at Scott Fitzgerald for a number of years. They are distinctive architecturally, and they represent both our past as a city, but now, because of the hard work of Conifer and our state partners in the city, they also represent the future of Syracuse. So thank you all for being here, and thanks to all of you for making this possible. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor. And now I have the pleasure of introducing Senator David Valesky. The senator has been very supportive of our efforts here and from the very beginning. And Senator David Valesky.
And congratulations to you and certainly all the partners here. Just join in with the mayor in saluting you and talking about the importance of this project. Mayor said these buildings are historically significant. They are. I'm quite sure they also have heat, which is why I'll be very brief. Let me just speak to one of the tools. The mayor talked about the tools in the toolbox to make these projects possible, and I want to thank her and her administration for their leadership in getting this done right from the very beginning of her administration. One of those tools I had an opportunity to participate in the state legislature as the Senate sponsor of the Historic Rehabilitation Tax Credit Program, and we often think of that program for its commercial application, and whether it be the Pike Block project or many other projects in downtown Syracuse that have been so transformative. That is true, but there is certainly a residential component to the Historic Rehabilitation Tax Credit program as well, and we're seeing that put to good use right here in these projects done so beautifully by Conifer, and I very much look forward to seeing them in the heat in just a few moments. So congratulations to everyone involved in the project. Thank you.
Assemblyman Bill McNarelli is here today as well, and I know he has some more context to this neighborhood, so hopefully he'll share maybe a little of his background growing up close by. Assemblyman.
I do have a little bit more personal history, I guess. I remember back in the late 50s anyway, walking to my accordion lesson with my brother Tom. We were about 8 and 10 years old respectively at the time, and walking down James Street, and we watched James Street change over the years. At that time, these buildings were still viable. I believe they were still being rented, and there were people living, and there were communities along James Street. But we have watched over the decades since then the decline. And I'm very happy to see these buildings come back. I want to congratulate the mayor and her staff for all of the work that they've done in bringing this about. And again, the state and the state legislature, both the Senate and the Assembly, I'm proud to say we had some part in this in making these things happen. As the senator alluded to, they don't happen without all of the different parts coming together. They don't happen without the grants and the tax credits that are needed. And I hear all the time, why do we give them out? Well, if you don't, these things don't happen. So with that, I want to say congratulations to Conifer. Job well done. I can't wait to see this whole block reinvigorated because of these buildings. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblyman. And now I have one of our other great partners, Lenny Skrill. Lenny is the Upstate Development Director for New York State Homes and Community Renewal. And New York State Homes has been a great partner, and without them, this wouldn't happen. So, Lenny.
Good morning. I'm here representing Commissioner Darrell Towns, who was not able to join us today. Anybody wanted to make me wish you a warm welcome. I want to thank our state elected officials for giving us resources to do these programs. Without their generous support, we wouldn't have resources to allocate or an administrative structure to run the programs with. I want to bring, this is a complicated deal in many ways. We actually have two different awards handled by two sets of HCR staff. These two assets are basically handled by our Housing Finance Agency, and they're financed with tax-exempt bonds, subsidy, New York State credit, to create a mixed income housing opportunity. And the team of people working on it from the state is a guy named Richard Brown, who works in our New York City office. Some of the properties on East Genesee and South Salinas are 9% deals, which are more traditional affordable housing projects oriented to people below 60%, and the leader of that team is Kathy Kapinski, who's freezing in the corner over here. So, and they both work very hard with Conifer to get this thing done. It's pretty cool. I was approached by the Eljay phenomena about, I can't remember, 2006 or 2008, and because it was a party for the city of Syracuse, and you know, I work with several different types of developers trying to figure out a solution to it, and it's really a credit to Conifer and their ingenuity and talent that they were able to pull it off and get this thing done, and to add to the beautiful James Street. It wasn't that long ago that we completed Courtyard of James with Conifer, and we look forward to working with the city of Syracuse and Conifer and more projects to serve the citizens of the community. Thank you.
Craig Burton is a first vice president of First Niagara Bank, and First Niagara Bank is a lender and investor on this deal here, and without them we couldn't do it either. I want to thank them for all of their help as a partner and introduce Craig.
Thank you. I'd like to ask, did everybody get the mints on the way in? I didn't know what the implications were. Again, I'm Craig Burton with First Niagara. I manage the commercial real estate group here in central New York. We did both the debt and the equity on the Kasson projects here, and I want to thank Tim Fournier and Joan Hoover for giving us the opportunity to do that. I want to introduce a couple people from the bank, though. John Barry, our relationship manager who handled this transaction. He's financed dozens and dozens of property around Syracuse, worked very hard on this project. And Chip O'Hara, right over here, this guy trying to hide, he's managed our analytical group, and which means he really does all the work. But without those guys, we wouldn't have gotten this done. So back in 2007, we opened our regional headquarters down on the corner of James and Salina here. And since then, we've grown to some 50 branches, stretching from the North Country down to Binghamton. Most of them are right here in Syracuse. Hopefully you're all customers of ours at this point, but we're here to celebrate the accomplishment of one of our favorite customers, Conifer. And these marvelous projects are transformative to James Street, but also provide comfortable and affordable places for folks to live. Conifer has also done Courtyard up the street and Moses DeWitt around the corner. We're involved in both of those as well. We're involved in homes in Southside Syracuse with the Housing Authority, recently completed affordable project. Pike Block down on Salina Street, transforming a long neglected portion of Salina. And a cool little project up on Tip Hill called St. Pat's Lofts. Very pleased to be involved in all of those. I wanted to thank Redstone. I don't know if anyone here from Redstone is here, but they are the tax credit syndicator that we work with. In fact, we formed with them a investment fund specifically for Conifer. It's working very well. We're in there with our friends from M&T Bank. El Nathan's here from M&T. And I think Joan Hoover came up with that concept. She's very demure about it. And I think that was her idea. It's worked out great. I want to thank the good folks at HCR and HFA. We enjoy working with them. I think they hear lots of complaints about process, but these are complicated deals. They're entrusted with public funds, and they deserve so much recognition for everything they do. First Niagara believes in empowering and renewing communities. That's a big part of what we do as a financial institution here locally. We'll be doing more, and I hope to be talking to you again soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Craig. And now we have with us Alan Naples from M&T Bank. M&T provided equity for these deals, and M&T is also another great partner of Conifer's, and we do a lot of business with M&T, a great bank, and we appreciate their reinvestment in the community. Alan.
M&T is really very proud to be here today and part of this community. For those of you that know us, the strength behind our organization is making sure the strength of our cities and communities remain strong. And it's projects like this that keep these cities and communities as strong as they possibly can. Working with Conifer and First Niagara, working with the Federal Home Loan Bank, I think some low-income tax credits, we were able to get these 2 projects completed. I cannot thank the Conifer Group enough for all they do here and around the state. It's a great organization, it's a great client of ours, but also for Mayor Stephanie Miner and Senator Gillespie. Great job, Bill McNarelli, for helping us complete these projects on time, effectively, efficiently, and there's a lot more spaces on James Street throughout the city that we want to work with them. So thank you very much.
Doug Riker is the Executive Director of Christopher Communities, and as we explained on these deals, there's 2 separate developments. This one and then the other 2 we combined as one development. The Hillside and West Park apartments on South Salina Street. And Christopher Communities is our nonprofit partner and sponsor of that development. And so Doug Riker is here today, and Doug, we appreciate our partnership. We've done several deals with Christopher Communities in the past, and we hope to do more again. Doug.
Well, in the interest of temperature, 2 quick remarks. One, this event sort of reminded me that it's very much like Thanksgiving. There's weeks of preparation and scurrying around and travel and cooking, and it's all over in 15 minutes after we eat. And I think it's important for all of us to remember, those that are here, that there's a tremendous amount of work that takes place. And we had a very small role in this, but there's a lot of work, and each and every one of you that are involved in this, when you get back to your office, take a few minutes to reflect, because this event is just sort of an instant in time, but this is the culmination of a lot of work on a lot of people for years, from the funding sources to the contractors, the architects, and all the city officials and everybody else. The other thing I also noticed was I had an opportunity to walk down from my office up at the top of James Street and looked at all the architecture that was here on the street. And I also wanted to point out how important it is to preserve architecture in this community. It is very difficult to do, and quite often it's easier just to knock buildings down and build new, but it's so important when you look at what it provides for the street. Here we have a building that really has its arms open and says, come on in. And when I look at the competitors up the street and down the street in the office buildings, they really are not very inviting in the same way to encourage people to come off the street and to stop and look as they drive by. It's an important part of our community. It's important that we maintain this, and I think Conifer did a great job of making that happen. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're almost to the end here. Before I introduce Tim Fournier, the leader of our company, I just want to quickly acknowledge a couple people that are here on behalf of other office holders that couldn't make it today. Lanessa Owens is here representing Assemblyman Sam Roberts. Lanessa, are you here somewhere? Hi, Lanessa. Please give the Assemblyman our regards, and we appreciate all his support in getting to this point. I know I met with him a couple times, and he's very, very supportive of this happening, and so he played a big role. Jeremy Bennett is here from Congressman Dan Maffei's office. Jeremy, are you here? Jeremy, please thank the Congressman for us. We appreciate you coming. And Lindsay Bednarczyk from Senator DeFrancisco. Lindsay, thanks for coming. And now I want to introduce Tim Fournier. Tim is the president and CEO of Conifer Realty. I'll leave it to Tim to say some more words about our project.
Thanks, Andy. Couple thoughts. Grand historic structures are revitalized and provided a rebirth. Crime rates are significantly reduced. Neighborhoods are reclaimed. 140 tradespeople are working right across the street today. This is about economic development. It's not just housing. These are jobs as well. In my opinion, those are powerful statements, and they're powerful because it really depicts the power of the public and private partnership that is exemplified here today. So Mayor Miner, first of all, thank you to you and your administration, your vision, your leadership, your ongoing support, and in particular, I know you called out Paul Driscoll, and I want to mention, Paul, thank you also for your time and putting up with Andy every day, stopping by and picking you up for a drive and telling you all his challenges. But truly, thank you for being a solutions person and not telling us why we can't. because that's why we're here today. So Paul, thank you for all of your efforts. To our friends at New York State HCR, Lenny, please share our gratitude to Commissioner Towns, Marilyn Zucker, and all of your colleagues who really, without you and working with all of our other state representatives, none of us would be here today. Real story is greatness for many, and I want to just say a couple other thank yous to our state delegation, Senator Valesky and Assemblyman Magnarelli, certainly Assemblyman Roberts as well. This is proof in the pudding. The programs you support, the state low-income housing tax credit, the historic credit, funding of the Housing Trust Fund every year. Proof is in the pudding. This is what's providing homes for members of the community at all income levels. So thank you for your continued support. Congressman Maffei's office, this is the low-income housing tax credit truly working today. 140 people working across the street. It isn't just housing, it's economic development. This is working, and I'd like you to bring this back to Washington, that the tax credit program is essential and is necessary for us to continue to revitalize our communities. A couple last thank yous to our good friends at M&T Bank, First Niagara Bank, Redstone Equity. That's the other side of this partnership. There's the power of the public side, but this private side has to be there. Our nonprofit partner, Doug, thank you for again partnering with us on this most important project. And lastly, I want to say thank you to my partners and colleagues at Conifer Realty. This, I would say, is a test to any joint venture partnership. The challenges we've had here from buildings being evacuated because we didn't know if they were still going to stand, to the magnificent renovations that we have today. And truly to all the tradespeople that are over there working today, these individuals over there are working 7 days a week to make this be home for 173 families here in the Syracuse area. So thank you to all of them. And lastly, to our residents, welcome to the neighborhood. This is your home. Welcome. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I think we're just about ready to cut a ribbon here, but I understand that the Center State Chamber ambassadors are here today and want to come up for a moment. If there's Center State ambassadors.
Good morning, everyone. We represent the Center State CEOs, Chamber Ambassadors. We're a group of businesses who get the pleasure of coming to events like this today to help businesses celebrate, and this is a great celebration today, to celebrate their milestones, to celebrate the newness, the renovation, and everything good here in our community. So we'd like to take this minute, real quick minute, and wish you, to tell you congratulations, wish you best of luck and great success, and we'd like to continue this relationship to keep renovating our area so that we do have new homes for lots of new families here. So congratulations and best wishes.
Okay, well, thank you. I think we're going to cut a ribbon, maybe, if we have enough scissors. Go.